Right, welcome everyone at the next multi-network community sync. Today is September 17th. Um, I see we have two topics. I'm gonna go first. I think since last time we met, what I did was I did the presentation in the network plumbing working group. Presentation of what we kind of come up with here with the DRA and pod network approach. Uh, I think the reception was so. I would say I think the folks they might. I think the problem for them would be why would we do this and require users to create more objects than what we currently have to, even if we were to even if we were to lose the annotation aspects from selecting stuff. I think that wasn't the bigger concern, and I think the future selling point would be probably the additional features if we were to build on top of them. Um, and I think the selectiveness, the scheduler integration, I think isn't so appealing. And then this Monday as well, I went to OVN folks, discussed about this there. I think this was receptive. I think a bit better. I'm not sure did we have anyone from OVN here. There were some questions about this at that meeting. I think um, the ask and question was from that side is how this could work with OVN is, and those are the things that Surya mentioned like last week when we discussed about this, uh, about like the UDN being network names backup namespace object versus what we currently proposing is a cluster scope. So those are the aspects that the questions there. Um, so that's something that we I think we could work with and see how that could be aligned. It's something that I need to dig into the UDN myself and see if there's something that we could do about that. Um, Otherwise, I think the OVN was quite receptive. Um, but yeah, we'll see how that goes further on. Um, any questions to this? If not, then I think Lionel, you have the demo. Then your floor is yours.
Yes, thanks. And yeah, thanks for checking with the Premium Group and
You need a co-host to share, right? Give me a sec.
yeah, thanks.
My co-host. Yes, there you go. We stop sharing.
Yes. I think you can see my screen now.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, you're all good.
Yes, thanks. So yeah, I created an initial pull request with a simple code that provide the resource discovery. So it's advertise the resources in the resource size, and that does the CNI add. I had this previously in previous POC, but there was Kubernetes requirement that were not there at that time. And now with the 1.34 that has been released a few weeks ago, we have, for example, the consumable capacity, we have the DRA and GA. So that's quite good. And I started creating some issues because yeah, it's something that I was missing before. It's how to expose to other people what is the plan and what are my ideas with the project and where I need help, etc. So I started with 3 issues, but I think I have 6 or 7 more in mind that we can discuss later, I believe.
Yeah.
So just to go quickly through the what I created in the pull request is mainly this README where I explain how it works. I will come back on it. There's the code, of course. There's some doc about the demo and how to run the demo, how to compile, how to create the cluster, what are the requirements, etc. And an example where I run the demo and I passed it just the resources that were created with the status and the full object. So so to come back, how it works. So it's nothing new. It has before. It's the CNI driver that is composed of two parts, an NRI plugin and a DRA driver. Both of them, the first thing when the CNI driver start is to register themselves as these entities. So NRI plugin to the container runtime and DRA driver as kubelet plugin to kubelet. And then after that, the resources will be published using the DRA driver, the DRA API. So it will create the resource slice object with all the resources that is being created. So this is something that has to be defined how to do it properly, and it's an issue that I created a few minutes ago. So after that, the pod, the user will create the pod and the resource claim that will contain the request for the device that will be created, the configuration associated to it. So when this will be created, the kube scheduler will schedule this resource claim that will enable the scheduling of the pod at the end. And then after that, when the pod is being created, container runtime or NRI plugin will catch this event and will call the CNI add on the pod directly. So it will create the interface, and at the end, it will return the status in the resource claim. So this is something I can demo now. I think now you see the terminal, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I have in the cluster is just a simple CAN cluster. I don't know if it's big enough. I can zoom a bit. I can also
it's good for me if anyone speak up if you want to see.
So what I have is the CNI driver that is running on each node. It's a diamond set. I have the resource slice that are created by this CNI driver. So what it does for now, it's simply expose what are the host network interfaces. So in that case, ETH0, it's the only interface that is being created. It exposes the interface name has attributes and the capacity that will need to be defined when we will clearly have a clear picture of what must be exposed in the resource slice. And now, so far, it's only a max virtual devices capacity, so we can create virtual devices like Mac VLAN, etc., based on it. And it has a request policy of one, and we can only create one virtual device at a time based on this interface, and we can create six. Yes.
The last one, it is per request, right?
Yes, per request.
So I can have 10 requests, right? Though
you can have 65,000 requests.
Yeah. But basically, from one pod, I can have 10 requests, and each taking one, right?
Right. Exactly. Yes. So we have this resource slice with this kind of device that is exposed on every node. So this node is for CAN worker, for example. And I also have a device class. I have that is provided by the cluster admin. So in that case, me, that just is existing to contain some selectors to select which driver the resource is exposed by. And now it's called network interface, but I think there was some ideas to have, for example, Mac VLAN device class, VLAN device class, and then we could have the CNI config directly inside. But I was facing some issue, and I will try to expose this issue in the GitHub issue in the future, or later today, I hope. So this is what we have in the cluster. So what I will do now is that I will deploy a deployment composed of, or I can show you directly. I will deploy a deployment composed of 3 replicas that are using a resource claim template called Mac VLAN ETH0. And this is the resource claim template. it contains a single request that is requesting an interface called ETH0, and that is composed of CNI config, that is a MacVLAN CNI config based on ETH0, and that has an IPAM with using the host local 1 and this subnet. So for each pod that will be created via the deployment, yes, a resource claim will be created. So this is a DRA feature. So now I can list the resource claim. So I have one per pod. So I have 3 pods being deployed. So if I check one of them here, the interface has been created and the IP addresses has been allocated and reported with the MAC address, the interface name being created in the pod. And we have this share ID because we are sharing the device ETH0, that is a host device. And this is using the consumable capacity cap that has been released in alpha in 1.34 in Kubernetes. So same as before now, if I execute in the pod and I check the IPs, so we have the corresponding IPs that is being reported with the corresponding MAC address. So this hasn't changed. So all the code for this is available in the pull request that I created yesterday. And yeah, I don't really have anything to add on this. I provided some simple CI to just push the images and compile them, and nothing special. The rest of the feature that is missing, I will put them in issues. Is there any? Yeah.
Do you have, like, in your template, you had your CNI config? Do you have validation for that?
No.
So basically, if I make a mistake to this structure, it's gonna fail.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly, and this is something that is not existing in CNI, and I created an issue in CNI for that.
What do you mean? Now, I think Multus has that. Like, there is I'm not sure how they did that. There is the validation webhook that validates the NADs. So they do in some ways, maybe some awkward way, but they have some sort of format validation of that, right? But so you can validate that. Basically, you can try to marshal. If that fails, just fail, right? That can be the case. But I wonder how you can expose that in just resource. Do you know? Like just in the array APIs, is there a way?
So yeah, there is. I mean, you can have a validation of your resource claim and your resource claim template, check the parameters, OPAC parameters, and validate that your API is valid. Right?
But I'm not saying through a webhook, right? I don't want to do that. I don't like webhooks. But I wonder whether there is a state a controller can put on a claim. Probably not, right?
But your controller needs to be a validation webhook, right?
Webhooks aren't, at least from my point of view, are not something that you want to reuse, right? That's why you want to have a controller that will do that for you and have conditions. That's a better user-friendly approach and less complex than webhooks. So at least from my opinion, I'm come from a mindset where it's better to just have a controllers and conditions to do stuff.
But when you say condition, at what time? Because you need to catch the event when the object is being created and prevent the object being created if it's not valid, right? And so far there's 2 ways. There is this validation webhook, or there is the validation template. I don't remember how it's called.
Yeah. So basically, the array has no built-in capability for that, right? That's what I'm getting at. There is no way to.
Are you trying to stop this at creation time or at like use time when a pod requests this resource claim? At that point, you can surface the error and say, hey, your config seems to be invalid. You can surface that error on the pod status. Definitely, I don't know if you can easily do that on the resource claim itself.
I see. So, but I see what you said. So on the resource claim that I receive, I can do that then. Okay, so the resource claim can. So maybe we can use that, right? I think I see what you're saying, Gaurav. I think that's it's a bit late, but better than. I think this is where like in this demo that Lionel you did. I think that would be good as well.
Here you have the condition. If it fails, you can fill this condition with interface not being created. But when I understood your part with the validation, it was like validating that the object resource claim is valid. So
that was my because I would do that for pod network, right? For pod network, we definitely can do that, right? We can control. We can have a controller that would put pod network status into one of the two, and basically, if it's there, then basically, if it falls, we will not mark that resource with that, right?
Right, but if you want to do it at creation of the object or update of the object, then you need or validation webhook or this validation admission policy.
But can the policy be so sophisticated that it can validate all this struct for you?
That's this validation admission policy? I'm not sure.
Yeah, because this is isn't this just using cell?
Yes, kind of.
So if it knows, I don't think because this is a blob from the cell point of view, right? And I don't think you can. I'm not sure. Maybe if you could do it through cell, then yeah, that would be awesome. Because then it's Igor.
Sorry, so validation admission policy may not work in this case because that's an opaque field, right, and not actual.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm not sure whether that's possible to applicable here.
I never tried it, so I'm not sure. So I cannot say. But yeah, to me,
the cell is quite powerful. We just claim, but yeah, I wonder whether you can. I wonder whether you can check about whether you can check the opaque stuff, blobs. Might be tricky. But if not, then I think Gaurav, what you just said, I think that's good enough. Like your pod, can you try that, Lionel? Can you make a mistake in the YAML and recreate your deployment with a broken? What's gonna happen? Pods will be in like restarting or something, or what's gonna happen?
I think it will return an error.
If you were to delete that. And then just let's make a mistake in the. Let's change name to something, or I don't know.
I can just put a type that is not valid.
No, type is this is still the same. I'm thinking like someone there is no plugin, so make a mistake, spelling mistake in plugins. So
like,
that's
remove the plugins or.
No. Just change the name for the plugins. Like remove an I letter in the plugins or something. Okay. Yeah, that part. Because those are two. What you just said is, I cannot find MacVLAN or because it's something else. And what I'm calling out is the more severe one, which is I'm crash looping. It's running, but it probably didn't use the.
No, it's my code in the CNIDA driver that doesn't handle this, but. Because it's the CNIDA driver that restarted, not the pod.
Oh, I see. And the pod is running because the NRI is not blocking, right?
Right. But I mean, probably, I don't know.
Can you check the pod? The pod probably is going to be now, the pod's going to be probably now empty, right? With just one interface.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a problem, right? We need to make sure we can. So we have one interface. Everything is successful, but you don't have the stuff.
Yeah, because I think in the NRI plugin I returned the error, but probably like you can return the error, but I don't know, probably I did another mistake
Skip is non-blocking, yeah.
that make the CNIDL driver to crash instead. But
So I assume
yeah.
for us, next target, Lionel, is to review your stuff, right?
Yeah, sure.
No, this looks awesome,
yeah,
by the way. This is a lot. Like you almost. So I can pass any CNI config here, Lionel.
yes, I guess so. I mean, I haven't tried so hard with different things because yeah, it's just starting code, I would say. But I will try to fix this kind of issue, like we just noticed. And the Dell CNI Dell is not code, for example, either. So I will try to fix that. But I would like to work on the issues first. And
CNI Dell is not called. Well, how does that behave? Does that break something or leave something?
Yes, if you don't code CNI Dell, then Dell is never called in the IPAM, for example. So the IPs are never released.
Oh, I see. So we have so we leak right now. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, that's mostly everything that I have. There is some bug, I think, in KEP 5075, the consumable capacity. I think you cannot create two requests in the same resource claim, if I understood correctly. I have to check the PR pang and try to.
Why not?
Push.
What do you mean?
It's a bug in consumable capacity.
Oh, I see. So you'd have to create separate claims for each interface?
Yes, from what I understood for now, yes.
Okay, I think that's not that's just a gap in the DRA itself, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Run your stuff. Do I need to have the alpha somehow enabled, or that's there? The API is there. It's just
right.
Deemed.
I think in here I have the kind configuration. I think only direct consumable capacity must be true, but the rest is already enabled, I think. I mean, DRA for sure, and I think the status solve was sure. It's already enabled as well.
Okay, awesome.
But yeah, I will try. As I said, I will try to work on the issues so we can have base on what must be done. And
I think we need to review this base, right, and merge that.
Yes, exactly. So people can try it, and there will be a README at least.
Yeah.
Basic code.
Yeah. So I see we need to let's add an issue for the Dell CNI Dell. I think that's missing here, right?
Right. I said I have a list of issues I'm working on it now, so I will add this.
Okay.
And, is there any other question around this, or any concern or anything else?
Just we need to come up with some how we do validate, but this is awesome. Like you almost got it all, my Lionel. I thought we have to help you a lot. This,
I mean, but again, this is the basic things. Like the complex things come later. I think this is the most simple thing.
And, what else is there to do? Well, what else you think? What is more like the CNI Dell, the validations? Let's go for those items. What else?
You need to discover the resources, right? Like what resources must be exposed, like how do you handle the VF, for example? Is it a partitionable device? What capabilities or functionality are provided? Are interfaces shareable or not? Are VLAN? Is it possible to create VLAN on top of this?
Okay, so this is where, because you're going into realm of outside what CNI can do. Is that not true? So that's the question. Do we want to go there or not? Because like if you think about CNI configs, right? You just point to like, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but in my opinion, you only can point to the master or parent interface, right? In the CNI configs, in all of them, right? That exist, right? Even Multus, Multus just uses the other one, so that doesn't count. So basically, you have what? MAC VLAN, IP VLAN, bridge. Bridge will create you a bridge and create interfaces, but still for bridge you need to provide the parent. What else is there?
But there's in reality, you can use a lot of CNI. You can even use OVN Kubernetes behind, because you can use
But
the
basically,
CNI.
you would have to then, but still, you limit it to the configuration of whatever they've exposed in CNI.
Right. But I mean, this is arbitrary. There's no standard. It's whatever the CNI expose. I mean,
Right,
the
that's
CNI
what I'm getting
documentation
at. Right,
yeah.
that's fair. So like then, so let's think SROV. We have host device, CNI, right? So that pulls the whole. I would require for host device. If I see host device, I would require the full interface. I think this is something that we could hide so that the customer didn't have to distinguish. Oh, if it's a host device CNI, I have to request the whole thing. Versus if it's not, you just request one. So this is something that we have to think of. Is there a way for us to dynamically discover what is the parameters and then request specific stuff for the user? I'm not sure whether that's valid thinking or the user has to explicitly call out that they want to have the full interface, right?
Yeah, and I think the admin should be able to filter and control what resources can be exposed, because maybe
No, that part is right.
the admin doesn't want to have a VLAN being created on some specific interface, for example, or
Yeah.
strange things being done.
That's true. I will have to look through the CNI list. So
There's other CNI features that must be supported, because now, if we check the API that are provided, so we have the CNI config and we have the interface name. But if we check the CNI API, then we can expose arguments and capabilities, and this must be set inside this object, so user can use whatever CNI features that they want. For example, in Multus,
right, but those are just capability. So basically, that has to just be your structure has to be the same thing. Is that not the case?
It depends, because you can do that, or you can do like Multus did by having for example, MAC request or InfiniBand UID or whatever that will be transformed by Multus into this API. So the question would be.
So I think I see what you're saying. So basically, because I understand Multus, it's smart enough that it can enhance the CNI config. I think that's what the word we are looking for. Enhance the CNI config with additional information it can deduct. It can figure out. Like for example, it can pass the PCI route for the SRV, right? For when SRV CNI is used, right?
I think it's to simplify the user experience, because
exactly.
You have the specific field here, while here is just an argument and it's an array of an array, and here it's a map, so it's a bit more complex to use this specific API. So the question would be, should we use this API and expose it in the CNI driver API, or should we have something like Multus API, or should we reuse the Multus API directly?
Keep in mind then that has to be like, because then you will have to change your structure, right? You will have to have your CNI config and then something else that will be outside of the CNI config, right? Because this part, this
is required still. It's part of the CNI documentation. The CNI documentation require the CNI config, arguments, and capabilities, etc.
Right, but is the previous that you showed them the parameters that that Multus has? Those are what? Those are args. Those are part of args, or
yes, right. This is part of args and capabilities. So, for example, okay, it's already open. For example, I think what do we have? Yeah, it's also exposed the CNI args directly. But port mapping, for example, it's transformed to the capabilities port mapping here.
Okay, I think. Okay, yeah, I think we just need to be up to standard with CNI, right? And
Yeah.
we can feed off of Multus' experience on what's the best approach. I don't think we have to be. Yeah,
And
but I think
there
this is
was, yeah, sorry.
no. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just continuing with the next issue. That there were some ideas that we could reuse the attributes of a device being selected to construct the opaque parameters. So, for example, we select a device using the PCI root, and in the opaque parameter, we reuse the device attributes, and we like fill the master field directly without having the user to specifically or statically set this interface name, because maybe the interface name is not known by the user, or it's
Yeah,
difficult.
exactly. Yeah, that would be, yeah. Especially if it is a SROV, right? For example, if you want to cover that level of things, right?
Right. So these are kind of things that I had in mind for the CNI driver, and there are more things that would create more issues. Like, as I mentioned, for example, the CNI Del, other CNI features like it has this check, which can check if the CNI or the interface is created and still valid. So you can periodically check using CNI and report it in the CNI status.
What is I think we need to come up with a plan as well how we expect the CNIs to be deployed, right? Or is that expectation on just on the cluster that they ship the binaries by themselves?
Yeah, I think this is not the responsibility of the CNI tier driver. I think it's the cluster admin responsibility, and the CNI tier driver should have access to this binary.
I think is that what Multus does, or do they have like?
Yes.
No.
Multus is the same as the CNI. I mean, here I have it's a example deployment. I added the like standard CNI plugins, but in reality we could remove this init container. But otherwise, it has a volume mounted that is OPT CNI bin that is mounted in the CNI driver or Multus, and then we can call the binary from there.
So basically, I see. Because we don't need the binaries to be present on the node. It has to be present in the container, right?
Yeah, it can be present anywhere. Yes.
So no, what I'm getting at, we don't need the binaries to be, because this is called from within the DRA driver pod. So we can ship the whole binaries together. Is that an option? Should we just do that? Like we include what we support, right? Because keep in mind with Multus, they go via kubelet container D and the CNI, which basically is a external call that's made. Here, that's not the case. Here we are registering with NRI, and we are being called from within the pod. So that means I don't have to rely on host having the binaries. I can just include them, right?
Is the DRA driver here directly calling CNI add commands?
Yes, this is correct, Graph.
Okay.
But
okay.
Naturally, it could be the same for Multus. Multus can have the CNI plugins binaries.
No.
Yes.
No, it can't, because keep in mind, the binary is called by kubelet, if you think, or container D. So that and that's not part of any pod. This is just the how to say, the root namespace. Let's call it that. Basically, from external, there is a process running directly on the zero namespace, right? There is no separate C group, which for this DRA driver runs in its own C group. So I can have my own stuff in it and I can control it. In that other case, that's not the case. So basically, it just uses the root, the file system, that's the base file system, and it expects the binary there. Same goes for Multus, because Multus is being called like this, and then Multus unless you're talking about the agentic base, right? The new, the how they call it, tick. I think they call it tick moves,
Yeah,
right? That one, yes, that one. Now for that one, they created some proxy, and yes, that's fair. But they have to support the old model. Here we don't, right? So I would say we could just include the binaries internally and be done with it, because we just care about what the code. If we want to, we could even just import the whole Go code from the CNI path, and instead of just running the binaries. But that would probably be more confusing than what it is. But
Yes. The idea is that if you want the cluster admin to set which CNI is available in the cluster, then it should be, he should have this possibility.
oh, I see.
Maybe he wants to put the CNI plugins that are available in the CNI repo, but maybe he has other CNI plugins that are provided by himself or his
I
organization.
think this could be controlled via the classes, right? Or you saying
no, because
yeah, the
class
claim
can be,
the claim could do that as well, right? I think this needs to be somehow. I wonder what will be the best way to do that. I don't think that, oh, you either have this binary or you don't. That's your. I think this could be as well a flag into your repository saying which enabled plugins sort of and basically, or excluded, or one of the two, right? So basically you disable some of the binaries that you have, or CNI plugins or not. I think that would be more cleaner than, oh, you either have to have that binary in the node or don't, right? Basically what I'm seeing is your container has all the binaries, but you have flags for it to the administrator to say, on this cluster I'm going to support only MacVillain. So basically, there is a flag which calls out supported, right, or enabled. There can be enabled and disabled flag, right, in some ways. And basically, enabled is if you don't specify anything, everything is enabled. If you specify enabled, then there's only that list, right? You could do that. And this is more cleaner than what including a binary and doing all this. What you just showed, right? Because right now what you showed is, oh, I have to copy this binary to this path and do all that. Why bother? This is not CNI. We don't need it.
Yeah, but that's why having the CNI config inside the device class would make more sense, because it would be the same person that will define the device class and that would add the binary in the host path. Because he could say, okay, MacVillain is available. So
but
I have.
Tell me this, Lionel. Which one is easier? Change the deployment flag, or go to every node and modify which binaries are there? You see, the usability point of view, this is where if you had a flag in the deployment saying enabled are only MacVillain, that's all. You see what I'm saying? It's easier than, okay, I have to go now to every node in the cluster and deploy only the binaries that they support, right? You see the difference? It's easier because the admin can, user should not be able to modify this DRA driver deployment daemon set, right? Something to this.
Sorry, go ahead. Something
to discuss, and I think, but I think if I were an admin, I would prefer A, don't mess up with my file system if you don't have to, and B, let me configure and manage everything from one place, i.e. Kubernetes API. If you can do that, that's the best.
But right? This would be the device class, if I understood correctly. You won't.
No, device. So I agree with you on device class is one thing, but user cannot create a device class. You created a blank statement device class, and I see what you're saying. You might not have that. You will have explicit device classes only, like for example for MacVillain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but then that further proves my point. Let's not force users to have the binaries to be deployed on the node. So that's basically the other aspect. Don't mess up with my file system on the nodes if you don't have to, right? And then
Yeah, I mean,
additionally, you're aligning you're the user of the CNI binaries. You will deploy the ones that you support in terms of there is some API SKU or something. So your version will come with the right versions of the CNIs, right? So the alignment is not, oh, you're using some older version of CNI binary. Sorry, this we don't support that one because something. Then you move away that problem as well, right? Yeah. Okay, that's by the way, this opens.
Yeah, I understand the topic, yeah, but I was thinking also, I don't know if I want to use this CNI driver with OVN Kubernetes, for example, like I want to replace Multus behind and use OVN Kubernetes, then I don't know, because it's this
I
last
see.
CNI plugins that are a bit tricky. I had in mind.
Oh, okay, that's a fair point. No, that's very fair point. But then again, like LVN, for example, with what will happen with OVN? I assume it's deployed with a daemon set in some sorts, right? Already, right? And basically it just installed itself, and then probably this is like a just a stub that calls into the agent. Like most of the CNIs, like Cilium does the same thing, right?
Everybody does that now.
Like TIG approach that Multus move towards, like everyone does that by default, I think. I'm not sure whether Calicos is doing that or not. That's something I'm not familiar with. But Cilium does that, and I would assume the OVN does it the same. So basically, that one is much easier. And I agree with you, maybe having that ability to call anything. But I would not want that to be, I can read it, but I don't have to write anything. I can then your permission level is lower, right? In terms of what you support. I can read whatever I want, and I'm coming up with the Kubernetes standard CNI, right? But yeah, I see the value at the at this.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the reasons to move to CNI 2.0 is to remove this, because I think your main concern is about the privileges required and changing the hosts.
Yeah.
So that's why there was this discussion also about CNI 2.0 that nothing has started yet. But I think Dan, for example, was thinking about having gRPC instead of a binary exec.
Yeah.
Without having to create a completely new API. I think there was a ticket being created on CNI. But yeah, I don't really know what the status.
Exec plugin from container image.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember if it's this one, but
yeah.
But
you can, okay. So even there go. You see, even they go towards like not having to copy like the binaries, right?
Tricky and insecure. Yeah, exactly. So yeah.
So basically, we can go that path, right? We can include the default ones, and then the rest is if you have something else, then ensure you have this. And okay, I see. Then we can maybe do yet something else. Just have a standardized gRPC. So basically, if they enable it, then we can move to this one as well eventually. Yeah.
Right. So remove the CNI or the binary exec there.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. This is awesome, Lionel. This is open some. I just.
Yeah, there's a lot of discussion around all this topic, and something that is being discussed in the CNI meeting on Monday. I think it's at the same time as this meeting. So just to do some advertisement for this, if anyone is interested.
Oh, okay. I see.
But yeah, it has been discussed a lot, and there was some discussion about CNI 2.0. But I'm completely open to any modification of the code or any new ideas. I think it's very valuable for the project in general and for the community. So.
Let me, and I recommend folks here to look at the PR. Can you link that PR? I think there's only
absolutely.
one anyway. So
yeah.
In that repo. So, but still, just link it in the notes. So that's chat. Let me just see, copy that.
And yeah, if you go on this PR, you can go in docs, in demo, and you will have the instruction how to compile, how to create the kind cluster, and how to deploy the demo that I just presented. Here, there's the full demo being run with the objects that are being reported. And if there's any issue, you can contact me on Slack or in the multi-network group on Slack. So I would be happy to help. And yeah, thanks for the attention and for the comments. Thank you so much.
Yeah, this is awesome, Lionel, and definitely gonna give it a try myself. Gonna try to review your PR, see where that see how that goes, so that we can merge. We have some core there already, right?
Right. Yeah, the idea is just to have a core so people can try it.
Yeah, exactly, and then build on top of it. Say again, Gor.
Saying thanks, Lionel. This is a great demo.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Any other questions to this? And any other topics to discuss? We have like 10 minutes, folks. If no other topics, let's call it for today. Thanks, everyone, and see you in 2 weeks. Yeah. Right. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.